I froze, my heart slamming against my ribs as the German Shepherd's jaws clamped onto my satchel, yanking it from my grip with a force that nearly pulled me off my feet. The Miami street pulsed with evening chaos, honking cabs, neon lights, but all I saw was the dog sprinting away, my life's work vanishing into the crowd. I, Maya Ellison, 42, a black tech visionary who'd clawed her way from public housing to a billion-dollar empire, wasn't about to let it go. My satchel held the blueprint for my digital storytelling platform, a tool to amplify marginalized voices, and I'd be darned if I lost it. But as I chased that dog through 3 miles of humid city streets, my polished heels clicking furiously, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't random. When I finally cornered the beast in a derelict warehouse, what I found wasn't just my satchel. It was a trembling girl, her eyes wide with terror, whispering, "They'll kill me like they killed my dad." But chase had been a blur, my lungs burning as I dodged pedestrians and darted through alleys, ignoring the buzz of my phone and the voice of my security lead, Jamal, urging me to stop. "Maya, this could be a setup," he'd warned, but the platform's encrypted data was 2 vital stories of systemic racism, curated from thousands of users, could expose truths no one else dared touch. I'd faced enough prejudice to know the world didn't always listen to voices like mine, so I'd built a way to make them undeniable. Now, panting in the warehouse's dusty shadows, I saw her, a biracial girl, maybe 10. Her dark curls matted, her clothes torn, clutching a worn journal. The German Shepherd, later I'd call her Luna, stood guard, my satchel at her paws, her low growl warning me to keep my distance. My first thought was to call for help, but her words stopped me cold. "Please, don't tell anyone," she begged, her voice barely audible. "They're watching." I knelt, softening my stance to ease Luna's tension. "I'm Maya, I won't hurt you." "What's your name?" I asked, my voice steady, despite the adrenaline. She hesitated, her brown eyes searching mine for trust. "Sophia," she whispered. Her fear was a mirror to the countless times I'd felt dismissed boardrooms where investors questioned my coding skills, assuming my success was luck, not grit. I'd grown up in Atlanta's toughest neighborhoods, where dreams were scoffed at, yet I'd coded my first app at 16, determined to prove them wrong. Sophia's trembling hands reminded me of that younger me, fighting to be seen. "Who's after you, Sophia?" I pressed gently. She glanced at Luna, then back at me. "My dad, Dr. Caleb Ruiz, found something bad. He said Apex Biotech was lying, and they made him disappear." My stomach churned. I'd heard of Apex Biotech, a San Francisco-based pharmaceutical titan pushing a miracle heart drug. Their CEO, Vincent Crane, was a silver-haired power broker whose polished charm hid a ruthless streak. I'd seen him at tech summits, his cold blue eyes scanning rooms for threats. Sophia's words painted a darker picture. "Dad told me to run with Luna," she said, hugging her journal. "He hid his proof in here. They want it, and they'll hurt anyone to get it." I asked to see the journal, and she nodded, her trust fragile but growing. Its pages were a scientist's meticulous work trial data, patient codes, and notes on suppressed deaths, mostly Black and Latino patients. Apex was burying evidence of fatal side effects to rush their drug to market. My platform had exposed corporate greed before, but this was murder dressed in lab coats, and it hit me like a punch. Racism wasn't just in boardrooms, it was killing people. I pulled out my phone, keeping my movements slow to calm Luna, and called my chief of operations. "Naya, I need food, clothes, a doctor off the radar," I said, my mind racing. Naya's voice was sharp with concern. "Maya, where are you?" Jamal's freaking out. I glanced at Sophia, now stroking Luna's fur, her small frame shivering. "I'll explain later. Just hurry." While we waited, I talked to Sophia about Luna's bravery, coaxing a faint smile. "Dad trained her to find safe people," she said. "She picked you." The words landed heavily. Her father's foresight, his desperate plan to save her, felt like a mantle I had to carry. I thought of my own mission, the platform I'd built to give voice to the silenced. Every story I'd shared, families denied justice, workers passed over because of race, echoed Sophia's pain. I couldn't walk away. Nia arrived with supplies. Her usual calm rattled as she took in Sophia's state. "Maya, this is serious," she whispered, handing me a bag of sandwiches and clothes. Dr. Patel, a discreet physician I'd helped through my foundation, checked Sophia's scrapes, noting malnutrition but no major injuries. "She's been through trauma," he said quietly. "She needs stability." I gave Sophia a hoodie and some fruit, watching her eat with a hunger that broke my heart. As she rested, I dove deeper into the journal, my platform's AI cross-referencing its data. The results were chilling. Apex had manipulated trials, erasing adverse effects to protect profits, targeting communities least likely to be believed. Vincent Crane's name appeared in coded notes, suggesting he'd personally silenced Caleb. I pictured his smug face, his tailored suits masking a predator's intent. He wasn't just a CEO. He was an orchestrator, using racism as a weapon to bury truth. Nia pulled me aside, her eyes darting to Sophia. "There's a police alert for a missing girl matching her description." Apex filed it, calling her unstable, and Caleb Ruiz's death was ruled a suicide 2 days ago. I looked at Sophia now, sketching Luna with pencils near brought, her small hands steady despite her fear. That's no suicide, I said, my voice low, and she's not unstable. They're framing her to cover their tracks. I'd faced similar tactics, media whispers questioning my stability when I exposed tech giants. As a black woman, I'd learned to navigate a world that doubted my every step, but Sophia's life depended on me outsmarting Crane's machine. We're taking her to the safe house, I decided, referring to a hidden community center I'd funded in Miami's Overtown, a haven for those escaping injustice. Nia hesitated. Maya, that's a huge risk. Your company, your reputation. I cut her off. She's a child, Nia. Someone killed her father for telling the truth. I won't let them get her. We moved quickly, Sophia clutching my hand, Luna trotting beside us. The drive to Overtown was tense, Nia weaving through backstreets to avoid prying eyes. At the safe house, a modest building disguised as a youth club, the director, Ms. Rosa, greeted us with a warm but wary nod. Her gray hair and sharp eyes spoke of years fighting for the community, and I trusted her to keep Sophia safe. No one that gets in without my say, Rosa promised, guiding Sophia to a cozy room with books and art supplies. I set up a secure laptop, diving into Caleb's journal while Sophia drew a sketch. A man with cold eyes chilled me. That's him, she whispered, the man who scared Dad. I recognized Vincent Crane's sharp features, and my resolve hardened. He wasn't just a corporate villain. He was a predator who targeted Caleb for his race, knowing the system would dismiss a Latino scientist's warnings. As night fell, Sophia's cries woke me. I found her trembling, caught in a nightmare. He said Dad was nothing, that no one would listen to people like us. She sobbed. I held her, my own memories, surfacing clients who'd assumed I was the assistant, not the CEO. Your dad was everything, I told her. He fought for truth, and so will we. Her small nod fueled my determination. I contacted Judge Aisha Langston, a 65-year-old black jurist I'd met through my advocacy work. Her voice was steady over the secure line. Apex is untouchable, Maya, but if Caleb had proof, I'll find who buried it. I also reached out to Javier Torres, a journalist who'd used my platform to expose corruption. Dig into Apex and Vincent Crane, I urged. Off the record for now. Trouble was already brewing. My stock dropped 8%, fueled by online rumors of my unpredictable behavior. A news alert twisted the dog chase into a suspicious incident, hinting at theft. Javier texted, Detective Monroe's asking about you, claims you knew Caleb, smells like Apex. I'd never met Caleb, but Crane was weaving a trap, painting me as unstable to discredit any accusations. Sophia, now painting a mural in the safe house's art room, added a figure with Luna woman who looked like me. You're like Dad, she said. You don't give up. Her trust was a weight and a spark. I thought of Crane, his icy confidence, his empire built on lies. He thought he could silence us, but I'd spent my life proving doubters wrong. As I watched Sophia paint, I knew this fight was bigger than my company. It was about dismantling a system that let men like Crane thrive while voices like Caleb's were erased. But as my phone buzzed with a cryptic message, return what's ours, or she's next, I realized Crane was closer than I thought, and our time was running out. The morning after finding Sophia, I awoke to the soft hum of the safe house's air conditioner, my mind still reeling from Vincent Crane's chilling message. Return what's ours, or she's next. My fingers tightened around my phone, the words searing into me like a brand. I, Maya Ellison, had built a tech empire to amplify the silenced, but now I was entangled in a conspiracy that threatened a child's life and my own legacy. Sophia's sketch of Crane, his cold eyes staring from the page, haunted me, a reminder of the man who'd orchestrated her father's death. I glanced at her, curled up on a cot with Luna's warm bulk beside her, her small face peaceful in sleep. The safe house, tucked in Miami's Overtown, was a sanctuary, but Crane's reach felt suffocating. I'd faced racism my whole life, investors who doubted my brilliance, colleagues who mistook me for staff, but this was different. Crane wasn't just dismissing voices like mine or Caleb Ruiz's. He was erasing lives to protect Apex by profits, and I was determined to stop him. I slipped into the safe house's common room, where Ms. Rosa was brewing coffee, her gray braids swinging as she moved. Her presence was a steady anchor, her years of community work giving her an unshakable calm. You look like you're carrying the world, Maya, she said, sliding me a mug. I managed a faint smile, my thoughts churning. Caleb's journal, now locked in a secure safe, was a ticking bomb, proof that Apex had falsified trial data, hiding hard drug side effects that killed dozens, mostly black and Latino patients. The data mirrored stories on my platform where users shared how medical neglect disproportionately harmed their communities. I'd always believed in the power of truth, but Crane's message made it clear he'd do anything to bury it. I confided in Rosa about the journal, keeping Sophia's identity vague. This could save lives. But it's dangerous, I said. She nodded, her eyes sharp. Danger's nothing new here. We've sheltered folks from worse. You do what's right, and we'll hold the line. My phone buzzed with a secure call from Judge Aisha Langston, her voice crisp despite the early hour. Maya, I've got preliminary findings. Caleb Ruiz filed ethics complaints against Apex last year, all dismissed without review. His department head at San Francisco General has ties to Apex's board. My heart sank. Caleb, like me, had been discredited before he could speak. His Latino heritage weaponized to paint him as unreliable. I'd felt that sting in boardrooms, where my ideas were surprising for a black woman. As if my race capped my potential, Aisha's next words were grim. There's more. 2 other researchers, both minorities, raised similar concerns about Apex. One left the industry, the other vanished. This isn't isolated. I pictured Crane, his tailored suits and calculated charm, orchestrating a system that silenced dissent with surgical precision. He wasn't just a CEO, he was a puppet master, pulling strings in media, law, and science to protect his empire. I needed to act fast, but Sophia's safety was my priority. I returned to her room, finding her awake, scribbling in a small notebook. It's my memory journal, she said shyly, showing me pages of tiny drawings and notes about her dad. One sketch, a man teaching her to code, broke my heart. He said I could change the world, she whispered. Her resilience, despite losing everything, mirrored my own drive at her age, coding late nights to escape doubt. I knelt beside her. You will, Sophia. Your dad's truth is already changing things. I suggested she join a virtual storytelling event I was hosting that evening, a safe way to share her art anonymously through my platform. Her eyes lit up, a spark of purpose cutting through her fear. Can Luna be in it? She asked. I laughed, nodding, feeling a warmth I hadn't expected. Her trust was a gift, and I vowed to protect it, as Sophia prepared her story. I dove deeper into Caleb's journal, using my platform's AI to decode its patterns. The results were staggering. Apex had targeted low-income clinics for trials, knowing complaints from those communities would be ignored. Patient codes showed a clear bias. Adverse effects in minority groups were systematically erased. I thought of my platform's users, sharing stories of doctors dismissing their pain, hospitals underfunding their neighborhoods. This wasn't just fraud, it was racism codified in data, and Crane knew it. His public persona, innovator, masked a predator who exploited systemic bias to shield Apex. I imagined him in his San Francisco penthouse, plotting his next move, his cold eyes scanning for threats like me. Naya called, her voice tense. Maya, the media's hammering you. They're saying you're paranoid, maybe involved in Caleb's death. Stocks down 12%. I gripped the phone, anger flaring. Crane was using the same playbook against me as he had against Caleb's. My credibility to preempt my accusations. I'd seen this before. A tech rival once spread rumors I'd stolen code, banking on stereotypes to discredit me. Dig into the sources, I told Naya, and check Detective Monroe's financials. He's too eager to tie me to Caleb. I hadn't met Caleb, but Crane's fabricated connection was a warning. He was building a narrative to destroy me. Naya hesitated. Maya, there's something else. Apex's legal team is hinting at a lawsuit claiming you stole proprietary data. My blood ran cold. Crane wasn't just attacking my reputation, he was setting a legal trap to silence me. I turned to Javier Torres, the journalist I'd contacted, trusting his integrity from our past work. Over a secure video call, his sharp features were etched with concern. Maya, I've got leads. Apex paid off a San Francisco editor to kill Caleb's story, and Craney's got dirt on regulators, enough to block investigations. Javier's passion for truth matched mine, his own experiences as a Latino reporter fueling his drive. He'd faced newsrooms that sidelined his stories, assuming his perspective was niche. We were kindred spirits, fighting the same biases. Keep digging, I urged. Find Caleb's colleagues, anyone who'll talk. Javier nodded, but his warning lingered. Crane's not just powerful, he's vicious. Watch your back. Sophia's virtual event that evening was a beacon of hope. From the Safe House's media room, we streamed to thousands, her story, a tale of Luna's loyalty woven into others' narratives of resilience. I moderated, my voice steady, but inside I was a storm of pride and fear. Sophia's courage, sharing her art despite her grief, reminded me why I'd built the platform. Users commented live, their stories of racism in healthcare flooding in, echoing Caleb's findings. One wrote, my brother died after a trial. No one listened. The collective voice was powerful, but Crane's threat loomed. As the event ended, Sophia hugged me, her small arms fierce. Dad would have loved this, she said. I swallowed hard, her words fueling my resolve. I'd started a community storytelling project in Miami, training locals to document injustice, and Sophia's story would be its heart. But Crane was closing in. Jamal, my security lead, burst into the safe house, his broad shoulders tense. We've got a problem. Someone tried to hack the platform's servers, targeting your admin access. My heart raced. The platform was my lifeline. It's encrypted. Stories a shield against corruption. Jamal's team traced the breach to a San Francisco IP, likely Apex is doing. I thought of Crane, his icy confidence at tech summits, his subtle digs at outsiders like me. He wasn't just fighting for profit. He saw people like me and Caleb as threats to his world order, our voices a challenge to his control. I ordered Jamal to fortify the servers and move Sophia to a hidden room Rosa had prepared, a relic from the safe houses days sheltering activists. Sophia's memory journal offered a breakthrough. As we reviewed her sketches, she pointed to a coded note, a date and initials. "Dad hid messages in my drawings," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. Using my AI, we cracked it. A meeting Caleb had planned with a whistleblower, interrupted by his death. The initials matched a former Apex scientist, Dr. Elena Kim, a Korean-American who'd left after raising concerns. I contacted Judge Aisha, who confirmed Elena was in hiding, terrified of Crane's reach. "She'll talk, but only to you," Aisha said. I felt a surge of hope, but also dread. Crane's network was vast, and every step risked exposure. I thought of my own journey, the nights I'd coded through tears, proving I belonged. Sophia's trust, Elena's courage, and my platform's voices were my strength. But Crane's shadow was relentless. The day ended with a chilling escalation. Naya called, her voice shaking. "Maya, a package arrived at the safe." To Sophia, my breath caught. Rosa brought it, a plain box with no sender. Inside was a single photo. Caleb, moments before his death, his face etched with fear. A note read, "Give us the journal, or she's next." My hands shook, rage and terror colliding. Crane wasn't just a corporate villain. He was a monster, using fear to break us. I looked at Sophia now, teaching Luna tricks to stay calm, her innocence a stark contrast to the threat. I'd faced racism that tried to shrink me, but this was a fight for lives. Sophia's, Elena's, and countless others Apex had harmed. I held the photo. I knew Crane underestimated me. My platform, my allies, and my resolve would expose him, but the cost was rising, and Sophia's safety hung in the balance. The photo of Caleb Ruiz, his face frozen in fear, burned in my mind as I stood in the safe house's dim kitchen. The notes, words, "Give us the journal, or she's next," echoing like a drumbeat. I, Maya Ellison, had built my tech empire to give voice to the voiceless. But Vincent Crane's threat against Sophia made me feel like the walls of Miami's Overtown were closing in. My hands trembled, not just with fear but with a fury I'd known since childhood, when teachers assumed I'd never rise above my Atlanta roots. Crane wasn't just a CEO, he was a master manipulator, using Apex Biotech's power to silence truth and weaponize racism to dismiss voices like Caleb's and, now mine. Sophia's soft laughter from the next room where she was teaching Luna a new trick grounded me. She'd lost her father, yet her spirit held a spark I couldn't let Crane extinguish. I tucked the photo away, vowing to outsmart him, but the weight of his reach pressed harder than ever. Morning brought a tense calm, broken by Jamal's urgent knock. His broad frame filled the doorway, his eyes scanning the safe house. "Maya, we've got movement." Unmarked cars circling a mile out, too coordinated for random. My heart raced. Crane's operatives were hunting us, likely tracing the hack attempt on my platform's servers. I thought of his cold eyes, his calculated charm at tech summits, where he'd once dismissed my platform as niche activism. He saw people like me, black defiant as threats to his carefully curated world, where profits trumped lives. I'd faced corporate sabotage before, but this was personal. "Get Rosa," I told Jamal. "We need to move Sophia." Rosa strode, in her gray braid swinging, her calm masking a fierceness honed by decades protecting Miami's vulnerable. "I've got a plan," she said. "My old community network has a safe spot on Key Biscayne off the grid." Sophia overheard, clutching her memory journal, her brown eyes wide. "Are they coming for me?" she asked, her voice small. I knelt beside her, Luna's warm presence a comfort. "They're trying, but we're smarter," I said, forcing confidence. Her fear mirrored my own at her age, when I'd hidden my coding dreams from skeptics. Sophia's resilience, her sketches, her stories reminded me why I thought I'd started a decentralized truth network through my platform, linking activists to share encrypted evidence, and I showed Sophia how it worked. "Your dad's journal is part of this," I told her. "It's saving people." Her nod, tentative but trusting, fueled my resolve. I thought of Caleb, discredited as unstable because of his Latino heritage, and how Crane's system thrived on silencing minorities. This fight was for them both. Naya called, her voice tight. "Maya, the media's escalating. They're calling you a fugitive, tying you to Caleb's death." Stocks down 15%. My chest tightened. Crane was painting me as a criminal, just as he'd smeared Caleb, banking on racist tropes to make it stick. I'd faced similar attacks, competitors whispering I'd lucked into success, but this was a coordinated assault. "Check the detective's ties," I told Nia. Monroe's too quick to point at me. I hadn't met Caleb, but Crane's fabricated link was a trap to discredit me before I could expose Apex's deadly trials. Nia's next words chilled me. "Apex is pushing a narrative that you stole their data. They've got a private security firm sniffing around." I pictured Crane in his San Francisco office, orchestrating this with surgical precision. His wealth, shielding him from accountability. Judge Aisha Langston's secure call offered a lifeline. Maya, I've reached Dr. Elena Kim, she said. She's ready to talk, but she's terrified. Crane's people threatened her family. Elena, a former Apex scientist, had flagged the same trial flaws as Caleb, only to be forced out. Her Korean-American background, like Caleb's and mine, made her a target for Apex's character attacks. Aisha's voice hardened. Crane's got allies in high places, regulators, even judges. We need hard evidence. I shared Caleb's journal findings, my platform's AI confirming the pattern. Apex targeted minority clinics, erasing deaths. To push their heart drug, Aisha's resolve matched mine. Her decades on the bench fighting bias giving her a steely edge. I'll arrange a safe meet with Elena, she promised. I felt hope, but Crane's operatives were circling closer. Sophia's virtual poetry reading, part of my platform's community outreach, was a beacon amid the storm. From the Safe House's media room, she shared a poem about her dad and as a hero who fought shadows, her voice steady despite her fear. Thousands watched, their comments flooding in stories of medical racism, families ignored by doctors. I moderated, my heart swelling with pride. Sophia's courage, bearing her grief to inspire others, echoed my mission. I'd launched a virtual mentorship program pairing kids like Sophia with coders to fight injustice, and her poem was its spark. But as the stream ended, Jamal burst in. We've got a breach. Security cams caught a drone over the safe house. My blood ran cold. Crane's tech was advanced, likely tracing our signal. I thought of his smug confidence, his empire built on exploiting bias. He wasn't just hunting Sophia, he was dismantling my world. Rosa's plan kicked into gear. Key Biscuit's ready, she said, her calm infectious. We packed essentials, Sophia clutching her journal, Luna at her side. But as we prepared, Naya called with devastating news. Maya, it's Marcus Tutcher, mentor. He's been meeting with Crane. My heart stopped. Marcus, a black venture capitalist who'd backed my first app, was family. His warm smile, his belief in me, had carried me through doubt. I pulled up security footage Jamal had flagged, my hands shaking. There, in a San Francisco cafe, was Marcus, handing Crane a drive my platform's access codes. Betrayal cut deeper than Crane's threats. Marcus had seen my struggles, shared stories of his own battles with racism, yet he'd sold me out. I thought of Crane's influence, his ability to turn allies into pawns, and wondered what he'd offered or threatened to break Marcus. We fled the safe house, Rosa leading us through Overtown's back streets to a nondescript van. Sophia clung to me, her fear palpable. Why do they hate us? She whispered. I swallowed hard, my own pain surfacing. Clients who'd doubted me, neighbors who'd assumed I didn't belong. They're scared of our truth, I said. Yup, Dad scared them, and so do we. Her nod was fierce, her small hand gripping mine. The drive to Key Biscayne was a 4-hour maze, Rosa's network guiding us via secure radios. We arrived at a coastal cottage, hidden among palms, its owner, a retired activist named Clara, whose warm eyes hid a warrior's spirit. You're safe here, Clara said, her voice like Rosa's unyielding. I settled Sophia in a room with ocean views, Luna guarding her, and set up a secure line to Javier Torres. Javier's update was grim. Crane's security firm has ties to federal contractors. They're framing you as a cybercriminal. Maya. His passion, born from years fighting media bias, matched mine. I shared Marcus's betrayal, my voice cracking. He was my rock, I admitted. Javier's silence was heavy. Crane breaks people, but you're tougher. He'd found a former Apex whistleblower willing to corroborate Elena's story, but they needed protection. I thought of my platform's network, its activists ready to shield truth-tellers, and felt a spark of defiance. Crane thought he'd cornered us, but he underestimated our collective strength. I pictured his San Francisco penthouse, his cold calculations, and knew he saw me as a stereotype, a black woman he could crush. But I'd spent my life defying that. Sophia's poem, now viral, rallied thousands online, their hashtags demanding justice for medical victims. I showed her the support, her eyes shining. They believed, Dad, she said. I nodded, hiding my fear. Crane's drone had been a warning, his operatives likely tracking our move. I developed an AI tool to detect trial fraud, sharing it with my network's coders. A preemptive strike against Apex. Clara's cottage felt safe, but Crane's reach was long. As night fell, Jamal reported a chilling development. A black SUV lingered near the cottage, its driver obscured. My phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number, and Crane's smooth voice filled my ear. Maya, you're out of your depth. Return the journal, or Sophia won't see tomorrow. His words dripped with racism, implying I was just another troublemaker defying my place. My fury surged, but fear for Sophia gripped me. As Luna growled, sensing my tension, I knew Crane had found us, and our fight was about to become a battle for survival. Vincent Crane's voice lingered in my ears. His threat returned the journal, or Sophia won't see tomorrow, cutting through the salty air of the Key Biscayne cottage like a blade. I, Maya Ellison, stood by the window, the ocean's restless, waves mirroring my churning thoughts. At 42, I'd built a tech empire to amplify the marginalized, but now I was a target. Hunted for protecting a 10-year-old girl and her father's truth. Sophia slept in the next room, Luna curled beside her, unaware of the black SUV that had trailed us to this coastal hideout. My heart pounded, not just with fear but with a defiance forged in years of battling racism boardrooms where my brilliance was questioned. Skeptics who saw my blackness as a limit. Crane, with his icy gaze and tailored suits, wasn't just Apex Biotech CEO. He was a symbol of a system that silenced voices like mine and Caleb Ruiz's, using prejudice to bury justice. But Sophia's courage, her poem now viral across my platform, reminded me we weren't alone. I gripped Caleb's journal, its pages a weapon, and vowed to expose Crane, no matter the cost. Clara, the cottage's owner, moved with quiet purpose, her activist past etched in her steady hands as she checked the security feeds. "They're watching, but they haven't moved in," she said, her voice calm yet fierce. Clara's decades fighting for civil rights in Miami gave her a resilience I leaned into, her warm eyes a reminder of the community's strength that had carried me through my own battles. I thought of my platform, its decentralized truth network now buzzing with activists sharing Caleb's findings. We'd launched a nationwide hackathon, inviting coders to analyze Apex's trial data, a bold move to crowdsource evidence. Crane couldn't suppress. My phone buzzed with a secure message from Judge Aisha Langston. "Alina Kim's ready to meet." Aisha said she's got documents tying Crane directly to the cover-up. "San Francisco tomorrow." My pulse quickened. Alina, another minority scientist, silenced by Apex, was our key to dismantling Crane's empire. But meeting her meant risking exposure. Sophia woke, her brown eyes bright despite the danger. "Did people like my poem?" she asked, clutching her memory journal. I showed her the thousands of comments flooding my platform, stories of medical neglect, families dismissed because of their race. "They're listening, Sophia," I said, my voice catching. Her poem had sparked a movement, and I'd started a virtual mural project, letting users paint digital tributes to whistleblowers like Caleb. Sophia's latest sketch, a vibrant image of her father teaching her to code, anchored it, inspiring others to share. Her courage, bearing her grief to rally strangers, mirrored my own fight. I'd coded my first app at 16, hiding from a world that doubted me, and now Sophia's strength pushed me forward. "Can I make a mural for Dad?" she asked. I nodded, setting her up with a tablet, my heart swelling with pride. She was more than a victim, she was a spark of change. Javier Torres called, his voice taut with urgency. "Maya, I've got a whistleblower from Apex's legal team. They confirm Crane paid off regulators to bury Caleb's complaints. But there's a catch: Crane's got dirt on a senator, enough to block investigations." Javier's passion, born from years fighting media bias as a Latino journalist, fueled his digging. He'd faced newsrooms that sidelined his stories, just as I'd faced investors who questioned my credentials. "Crane's untouchable," he warned. "He's got private security with military ties." I pictured Crane in his San Francisco penthouse, his cold calculation turning allies like Marcus Tate against me. Marcus's betrayal still stung. His warm mentorship had been my rock, yet he'd handed Crane my platform's codes. I wondered what Crane had offered: money, threats, or both, to break a man who'd once shared my fight against racism. Nia's update was grimmer. "Maya, Apex's security firm is spreading rumors you're a SAG criminal. They've hacked local news, planting stories about you fleeing with stolen data." My stock had plummeted 18%, my reputation teetering as Crane's machine painted me as a threat. I'd seen this playbook before: competitors whispering I'd lucked into success, their words laced with bias. But Crane's attack was surgical, exploiting stereotypes to discredit me before I could strike. "Trace the firm," I told Nia, "and get me everything on Detective Monroe." His questions about my non-existent link to Caleb screamed Apex's influence. Nia's voice softened. "Maya, be careful. They're watching the Safe House network." My chest tightened. Crane wasn't just hunting Sophia, he was dismantling my world, using racism to paint me as a villain no one would believe. Dodge Aisha's network offered a counterattack. "I've got judicial allies broadcasting the Key Biscayne standoff," she said. "They're questioning Crane's private security on live feeds." Her voice, honed by decades fighting systemic bias, was a lifeline. Aisha had faced racism on the bench, her rulings scrutinized because of her blackness, yet she'd never wavered. I shared our hackathon's findings. Coders had uncovered Apex's pattern of targeting minority clinics, erasing deaths to push their drug. Aisha's response was fierce. "This is bigger than Apex. Crane's got connections to DC, maybe higher." I pictured him, his silver hair gleaming under boardroom lights, his charm masking a predator who thrived on power. He saw people like me, Caleb and Alina, as disposable, our truths buried under his influence. Sophia's virtual mural went live, her tribute to Caleb, a digital canvas of him coding under stars, drawing thousands. Users added their own panels, stories of medical racism pouring in. I moderated, my heart racing as the platform became a megaphone for justice. But danger loomed. Jamal burst in, his face grim. "Maya, we've got a perimeter breach. Drones." Again, and 2 SUVs closing in. My blood ran cold. Crane's operatives had found us, likely tracking our signal. Clara's cottage, hidden among Key Biscayne's palms, was no longer safe. "We move now," Clara said, her activist instincts kicking in. She revealed a hidden tunnel, built during her civil rights days, leading to a boat dock. "History taught me to always have an exit," she said, her eyes fierce. I grabbed Sophia's journal, my laptop, and Sophia's hand, Luna trotting beside us as we slipped into the tunnel. The escape was heart-pounding, the damp air heavy as we navigated the narrow passage. Sophia clung to me, her fear palpable. "We gonna be okay," she whispered. I squeezed her hand, my own fear battling my resolve. "We're tougher than they think," I said, thinking of my younger self, coding through doubt to build my empire. Clara led us to a small boat, the ocean dark and choppy. As we pushed off, I saw flashlights sweeping the cottage, Crane's men closing in. My platform's network was our shield, activists now spreading Caleb's data worldwide. I'd coded a truth switch, an encrypted trigger to release evidence if we were caught, a lesson from years dodging corporate espionage. Crane thought he could outmaneuver us, but he didn't know our strength. On the boat, Sophia pointed to a sketch in her granola man with Crane's sharp features. "He came to our house," she said, her voice trembling. "He told Dad no one would believe a nobody." The words hit like a punch. Crane's racism wasn't just strategic. It was personal, a belief that people like Caleb, Sophia, and me were lesser. I thought of my platform's stories, families dismissed, lives lost to bias, and felt fury surge. "He's wrong," I told Sophia. "Your dad's truth is louder than his lies." Her nod was fierce, her small hand sketching Luna as we sailed. I contacted Javier, his voice crackling over the secure line. "Maya Elena's documents are explosive." Crane signed off on the trial cover-up. "Meet us in Portland, Oregon, safe house there." Portland was a risk, but Elena's evidence could end. Crane dot as we docked at a hidden pier. Clara's network guided us to a van. The 4-hour drive to Portland was tense. Sophia sketching to stay calm, Luna's presence a comfort. My phone buzzed with a live for Daesh's allies airing Crane's operatives' illegal search, their faces exposed. But Crane's voice haunted me, his threat a reminder of his power. Then, a chilling broadcast interrupted the feed. Crane, on national TV, denying Apex's wrongdoing, his charm masking lies. "We're victims of a smear campaign," he said, his eyes cold. "Certain individuals, unstable and desperate, are spreading falsehoods." My name flashed across the screen. Paired with Sutton, a criminal, my heart sank. Crane was framing me as the villain, using racism to ensure no one believed me. Sophia's mural project exploded online. Users adding tributes to lost loved ones, their stories of medical racism flooding in. I showed her, her eyes shining. "See, Dad," she said. I nodded, hiding my fear. Crane's broadcast was a declaration of war, his influence bending media and law. But Aisha's voice cut through, her livestream calling out Crane's lies. "This is systemic corruption," she declared, her judicial weight undeniable. My hackathon coders released new data, showing Apex's drug killed 87 patients, mostly minorities. The truth was spreading, but Crane's SUVs were closing in, their lights flashing in the distance. As we sped toward Portland, Luna growled, sensing danger. I held Sophia close, my resolve steeling. Crane thought he could silence us, but our voices, mine, Sophia's, Caleb's, were too loud, and the fight was just beginning. The Seattle safehouse's walls seemed to pulse with the weight of Vincent Crane's final threat, his voice still ringing in my ears as I gripped Sophia's hand, the roar of SUVs closing in. I, Maya Ellison, had spent my life shattering the barriers of racism boardrooms where my blackness was a question mark. Skeptics who doubted a woman from Atlantis projects could build a tech empire, but at 42, I faced a predator who'd killed to bury truth. Sophia, her brown eyes, fierce despite her fear, clutched her father's journal, its pages exposing Apex Biotech's deadly lies. Luna, her German shepherd, stood vigilant, sensing the danger. Crane's broadcast, branding me as such, had turned the world against me, but my platform's Truth Network activists, coders, allies was fighting back. As we fled to a new sanctuary, I thought of Caleb Ruiz, Sophia's father, dismissed as unstable because of his Latino heritage. His sacrifice, Sophia's courage, and our collective voice fueled me. I'd built my empire to amplify the silenced, and now, with Crane's operatives hunting us, I vowed to finish Caleb's fight, no matter the cost. Reverend Malik Jones's van sped through Oregon's misty roads, his calm presence a beacon as he guided us to a hidden church in Tacoma, its steeple a symbol of refuge. Malik's deep voice, shaped by years fighting injustice, steadied us. "You're home here, Maya," he said, leading Sophia to a room with stained glass windows casting rainbows. I settled her with Luna, her small hands sketching a new mural panel, a vibrant tribute to Caleb's defiance. My heart swelled, recalling her viral poem, how it rallied thousands to share stories of medical racism. I'd launched a national Truth Summit, a virtual platform to unite those voices, and Sophia's mural was its soul. "Will Dad's truth last?" she asked, her voice soft. I knelt beside her. "It's growing, Sophia. You're making it eternal." Her nod, brimming with resolve, echoed my own at her age. Coding through nights of doubt to claim my place. Judge Aisha Langston's secure call sparked hope. "Maya Elena Kim's documents are ironclad," she said. "Crane approved the trial. Cover-up. Targeting minority clinics." Aisha's voice, forged in decades battling bias on the bench, was unyielding. She'd faced racism herself, colleagues doubting her rulings, assuming her blackness skewed justice, yet her judicial allies were amplifying our evidence. I shared our hackathon's findings: 127 unreported deaths, mostly black and Latino patients, erased by Apex. Aisha's response was fierce. "We're pushing for an FDA injunction. Crane's empire is cracking." I pictured him in his San Francisco penthouse, his cold eyes narrowing as his power slipped. He'd banked on racism to silence us, believing voices like mine, Caleb's, and Elena's would be dismissed, but our truth was breaking through. Javier Torres, my journalist ally, called with a bombshell. "Maya, we've got Crane's emails. He bribed a senator to block probes, and Detective Monroe's on his payroll." Javier's fire, born from fighting media bias as a Latino reporter, matched mine. He'd uncovered Apex's web regulators, media, law enforcement shielding Crane's lies. "We're leaking this at your summit," he said. I thought of Marcus Tate, my mentor who'd betrayed me, his warm smile now a scar. Had Crane threatened his family, or was it greed? The pain cut deep, reminding me of times I'd trusted those who saw my race first. But Javier's integrity, Aisha's strength, and Moloch's sanctuary gave me resolve. Crane's system thrived on division, but we were a united front. Our shared fight against racism binding us. Sophia's single quotes as virtual mural project soared. Users adding panels of lost loved ones, their stories of medical neglect flooding my platform. I launched a youth truth app, letting kids like Sophia code tools to spot fake data, turning her pain into power. She beamed, coding her first APO tribute to Caleb's lessons. "He'd love this," she said, her eyes bright. I swallowed hard. Memories of my own coding nights in Atlantis projects surfacing, dreaming of a world that heard me. Sophia's app launched at the summit, drawing millions, including families who'd lost kin to Apex's drug. One wrote, "My cousin died in their trial. No one listened because we're Latino." The collective grief and fury fueled our fight, but Crane's operatives were closing in. Jamal reported a chilling update: their security firms tapping our summit stream there in Tacoma. We hid in the church's basement, a relic from Moloch's civil rights days. "This place saved souls," he said, his voice warm. I activated my platform's truth switch, releasing Caleb's journal and Elena's documents globally. If Crane caught us, the evidence would live. My phone buzzed with Aisha's feed, her allies grilling Apex's actions on TV, exposing Crane's corruption. Javier's leak aired, showing Crane's emails ordering Caleb's silencing. The summit hit millions. Sophia's mural at its core, her voice narrating, "My dad fought shadows. Don't let them win." My tears fell, pride and fear colliding. She'd turned grief into hope, her courage a beacon for the 25 to 55 audience, watching our fight unfold. Then, a live feed crashed. Crane's operatives stormed the church, their tactical gear gleaming, claiming federal authority. Moloch's voice boomed, stalling them with demands for warrants, giving us time to slip through a tunnel to a waiting car. Sophia clutched Luna, whispering, "Dad's with us." I hugged her, my fear tempered by her strength. We reached Seattle, Safehouse news erupting. Apex's stock crashed 50%, investors fleeing as Javier's leak spread. Elena Kim arrived, her quiet resolve fierce. "Crane threatened my kids," she said, handing me proof of his orders to kill. I thought of my platforms, stories families dismissed, lives lost to bias, and felt a fire ignite. The summit's climax loomed, a press conference at my 12,000 square foot headquarters. Aisha led the charge, her presence commanding while Javier coordinated media. Sophia stood with her aunt, Dr. Teresa Rees, a biochemist who'd verified Caleb's data. "My dad died for truth," Sophia said, her voice clear, cameras rolling. Elena's documents and Javier's emails exposed Apex's crimes: 127 deaths, targeting minorities. The livestream hit billions, a global reckoning. Crane's denial broadcast was hacked, his own words airing. "Nobody believes their kind." The raw racism stunned viewers. His mask shattered. He was arrested at San Francisco's airport, his silver hair mussed, charged with conspiracy and fraud. Marcus Tate was detained, his devices confessing Apex's bribes. Detective Monroe faced justice, his ties exposed. Apex's drug was recalled, lives spared. I launched the Ruiz Truth Foundation, led by Sophia and Teresa, with Luna as its mascot. Sophia's Youth Academy taught kids to code truth tools, empowering a generation to fight racism. At a ceremony, she pinned Caleb's badge on a whistleblower tower, its steel gleaming under Seattle's sky, a symbol of defiance over Crane's opulent empire. Families gathered, their stories of loss now heard, their gratitude humbling. "You gave us justice," one said. I thought of the mystery that began with Luna's theft, the intrigue of Crane's web, the contrast of my billionaire rise against his corrupt elite, and the church's stained glass as hope's light. I'd faced racism, dismissals, but learned that courage, community, and truth could reshape a broken system. Caleb's legacy, Sophia's spark, and our united voice proved it. Reflecting now, I see my journey as a testament to resilience. From Atlanta's shadows, I coded a dream to amplify the silenced, facing prejudice but never bowing. Sophia taught me that courage can heal. Her small axe poems, murals, apps igniting change. Crane's downfall showed me that systemic racism, though entrenched, crumbles when we stand together, our voices too loud to ignore. The lesson: truth is our greatest power, but it demands risk, unity, and an unyielding belief in justice, no matter the odds. If you were in a similar situation, with elements like a mysterious dog sparking intrigue, social contrasts between wealth and vulnerability, and settings symbolizing hope like a church's light, how would you approach it to achieve the best outcome? Would you risk everything to amplify the truth, uniting voices against a system built to silence them?